ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Monday, October 20th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line is open, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We get that Marshall win to go over. The Thundering Herd doing it in double overtime. That was an important game for the Thundering Herd. Going into that game, I felt good about Marshall's chances, but still, I also thought that Texas State was a pretty good team. Records were similar in the way that they got to 3-3. I thought Texas State came in maybe a little bit more desperate because it needed a win in conference, and of course, the Thundering Herd playing at homecoming. So Marshall gets the win. Marshall now has some time off before the matchup against Coastal Carolina. And, of course, the league has made the time official. We were waiting sort of get all the official details. And so now Marshall and Coastal Carolina is set for that October 30th matchup at 7:30 p.m. And that is going to be televised on ESPN2. We'll have the game for you, of course, and we would prefer you to listen to it while you watch it right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and on 93.7 The Dog. We got a lot to get into today. First of all, I want to get your late reaction to the Marshall win. I know we got a lot of your feedback on Saturday night after the game with our post-game show. So if you missed that, we'll wrap this one up today. We're going to hear from Coach Gibson just a little bit later on, get his thoughts on the game, and also kind of figure out where we go from here. Also, we're going to hear a little bit from Coach Jackson today, and we're going to hear a little bit from, are you ready for this? The preseason All-Sun Belt third-teamer, Marshall senior Meredith Mayer. Now, third team is good. You got recognition. I think she's going to look at that and be happy with that, but I think she's going to be pushing for a breakout year to maybe end up first team at the end of the year. We're going to hear from her in just a few minutes as well, as we've got her reaction to, well, let's just say this. She's ready to go. So we're going to hear from Coach Jackson. We're going to hear from her. We're going to hear from Coach Gibson. All of that coming up. We've got a busy night in sports. We have got Game 7, deciding game between Toronto and Seattle. Toronto got it done in Game 6, 6-2. So the series is now tied at 3 games apiece. So we've got a Game 7. And that is coming up tonight. 7:30 is going to be our airtime right here in Toronto, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Also on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So we've got the game coming up tonight. There's NFL action tonight as well. The Bucks are taking on the Lions. That's at 7. And then you got the Texans taking on the Seahawks at 10. So it's going to be a big night. If you're in Seattle, you could see your team go to the World Series. You could see your team beat the Texans, or you could have one of two things happen. You could split, or you could see your team lose them both. I mean, technically, we're talking 3 things here. You win both, you split, you lose both, but I'm thinking Seattle beats Toronto tonight. I know it's at Rogers Center. I know it's in Toronto. I think Seattle wins and gets the victory, goes on to the World Series. That's the World Series I would want with all the remaining options. I think I want Seattle, LA. That's what I'm looking for. So that's coming up tonight. Game 7, always a fun time when you got a Game 7, and that is happening on your radio. We'll have the World Series for you as well. So we're going to have all of that and more coming up as we've got a busy week in sports. Coach's show is moved to Thursday. If you didn't remember, there's exhibition basketball coming up tomorrow. So this will be the first time for you to get a chance to see the Thundering Herd in action. Again, it's exhibition. It's fans first, so you get an opportunity to go in, check it out, no charge. So if you don't have tickets, you can get them at the gate. You go ahead and get them early if you can, but if you can get them at the gate, I believe there shouldn't be too much for a problem there. So it's a fans first game. It means, fans get to come in free. It's exhibition. They call it fans first because, that's the trend these days to kind of present these as fan forward type events. So you got exhibition basketball coming up. So the coaches show is going to be moved to Thursday. And so we're going to have 2 hours of coaches shows. We're going to have basketball and football. So that's what your Thursday is going to look like. But tonight, we've got baseball. Tomorrow, no coaches show. And then we'll get back into baseball. I think we pick back up on Wednesday with the World Series. So doesn't matter what the matchup is. Keep it locked right here, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Okay, I think that's taking care of all of the business work. We have got coaches' polls are out today. Where the herd get picked in football, we kind of just threw that one out because we knew that, you know what, nobody knows really what this is going to be about. In basketball, I think we are sort of in the same place because in basketball, the coaches poll, James Madison is picked 1. All the way at the bottom is ULM. ULM got 19 points. It looks like this. James Madison is 1, and it got a first-place vote. Arkansas State is 2nd, and it got 3 first-place votes. South Alabama is 3rd, and it got 4 first-place votes. Troy comes in at 4 with 1 first-place vote. Marshall is 6th with 1 first-place vote. Old Dominion's ahead of it at 5 with 2 first-place votes. And then App State, with 1 first-place vote, came in at 7. Texas State came in at 8. Louisiana got a first-place vote and is 9th. And then to round it out, Georgia Southern at 10, Georgia State at 11, Southern Miss at 12, Coastal Carolina at 13, as we just mentioned, ULM at 14. So that's where we stand when it comes to the coaches poll. Throw all of that out. That doesn't mean a thing to me. Absolutely. I mean, it's nice. It's nice. And then, of course, James Madison picked in the women's side as well. It got 9 first-place votes. It's number 1. Arkansas State came in at number 2 on the women's side with 3 first-place votes. And then Troy is 3rd with 1 first-place vote. Old Dominion, 4th, also got a first-place vote. And then Southern Miss comes in at 5. Coastal Carolina comes in at 6. Georgia State, 7. And then Marshall's 8. Okay, a lot of potential there. 8. 8's not bad. I'll take 8. And App State's 9. Georgia Southern, 10. Louisiana, 11. Texas State, 12. ULM, 13. And then South Alabama, 14. That's the women's basketball preseason coaches poll. Again, means nothing. You have no idea, no concept of what teams look like. And I almost think you should do away with these coaches polls. I'm almost on that bandwagon. Not there yet, but I'm close. Because what's it mean? Hey, James Madison, you're picked to be the number 1 team. And what if James Madison has a terrible year, right? I mean, does it really mean anything? Do you put any stock into it? I don't think you do. It's nice for bragging rights. Hey, yeah, we're the preseason favorite here. So James Madison has a target on its back, both men's and women's basketball. If you're Marshall, you're 8. You're not exactly at the bottom. You're not exactly at the top. It's like, okay, we're 8. Okay, so we've got some ground to cover. We got some ground to make up here. On the men's side, though, you look at this, and the Thundering Herd's 6, and I think, okay, you know what? That's kind of fair. I think Marshall's in the top 6 right now of the teams. And as far as that ranking is concerned, you got a first-place vote. Okay, so, but you look at all the first-place votes, and it was spread out. Look what we said. James Madison, Arkansas State, South Alabama, Troy, Old Dominion, Marshall, App State, and Louisiana. So 8 teams got first-place votes. That means nobody knows what anyone has. Nobody has a clue, a concept of what anyone has. And at least Coach Jackson was upfront about it. He was asked, hey, what do you think about the Sun Belt? How's that shaping up for this season? And, he was asked that question. He basically said, I think he politely said, I don't care, politely.
Yeah, I have no idea. You know what? I'm locked in on trying to get us better. I know we lost the Sun Belt League as a league, lost several players to different programs. So it's hard to tell. You get asked that question a lot. It's not like the old days where you can kind of predict it. I mean, you look on everyone's roster and it's 8, 9, one team, 11 new guys. I mean, so it's hard to tell. The challenging part is for every coach is getting everyone to gel, getting everyone to believe in one common goal. Because here's the deal in the transfer portal right now, you have guys coming. When they initially come, they come for themselves. They usually come for themselves. They come from what they can get, right? So that's their thought process. You know, when it used to be, hey, I'm going to Marshall because I love X, Y, Z. Now it's, I'm going to Marshall, okay, what can I get out of the deal? So the thing we try to do here is we understand that, all right? We address the elephant in the room, but at the same time, try to get those guys to buy into the one common goal, and that's playing here and being present here and doing everything they can to help the team win, right? Because we have several new guys on our roster right now, and we talked about it yesterday. Everyone wants to play 40 minutes, right? Everyone wants to play 40 minutes. You came to Marshall to play, all right? But we tip it up, first exhibition on the 21st, and not everyone's going to play 40 minutes, all right? So how is your attitude going to be then? How are you going to react then, all right? Are you going to be a guy that works to stay ready? Or are you going to be a positive influence in the locker room? Or are you going to be a Debbie Downer? That's the thing when the season starts, you sometimes find out. So now that's another thing you have to address. So it's constantly evolving. It's constantly pivoting. It's constantly, sometimes you're a coach, sometimes you're a counselor. But you know what? We signed up for it. I love it to the core. And obviously I love being here at Marshall, love being home, and feel good about where we are as a team.
So that's Coach Jackson's take on what these things really mean. He doesn't have an idea. He's concerned about Marshall. Hey, Coach, who's the best team in the league right now? I mean, what's he going to tell you? Is it Arkansas State? Is it James Madison? Is it South Alabama? Does he really, truly know? Is he going to honestly say, yeah, you know what? It's really these guys. He's focused on his team, and that's where we're at right now. I mean, again, look at this thing. 8 teams got first-place votes. That means nobody knows. Nobody has a concept. On the women's side, maybe a little bit easier to pick. I don't know. We don't know what Coach Folks has really got. This team's definitely going to be better than it was last year, and it got better as the season progressed. So we'll get into that with you. We've got player comments coming up as well from Meredith Mayer. She was named third team. Big honor for her. So we'll get into that with her as well. And we'll go over, what the Thundering Herd got as far as preseason recognition. And we're going to hear from Coach Gibson as well. So that's what we got on the show today. We're going to get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. It's a Monday. It feels like a Monday, and we're going to try to make it better for you as we get you home on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Fall might be here, but you can still sip into summer with $3 margaritas at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Our fresh lime margaritas are handcrafted to bring a burst of summer to your table, even on a crisp autumn day. Upgrade to mango, blackberry, spicy, or desert pear for just $1 more. Enjoy a round or two without breaking the bank. And pair it with the cafe's Baja Chicken Street Tacos for the perfect fall fiesta. Come to the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue, downtown Huntington.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Polka Valley Bank. Polka Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Polka Valley Bank locations today. Polka Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield, subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Polka Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Transform your outdoors all year long with Roberts Lawn Care and Landscaping. Family owned and operated, serving the tri-state area with expert landscaping services. From vibrant spring gardens to cozy fall patios and everything in between. Roberts specializes in sustainable landscaping that thrives through every season, residential or commercial. Roberts creates personalized solutions to bring your vision to life. Call Roberts today at 304-633-5822 because your dream yard deserves 4 seasons of care.
This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy and Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, they make it easy to get into a safe, reliable vehicle. Every used car goes through a 117-point inspection, fall into a safe, reliable vehicle, and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at Mark markporterautogroup.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Our text line is open 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got a busy show today. Going to hear from Coach Gibson in just a few minutes. Thundering Herd getting sent for Coastal Carolina, but they've got a little bit more time to do it, and I feel good about it. The bye did the Herd a world of good last time. You get the 2 straight wins. You get a win against Old Dominion. You get a win against, I thought, really a good Texas State team. And now you have an opportunity to go on the road against Coastal. And tickets are on sale now. And I mention that because Texter writes in and wants to know how many tickets you think we'll get for Coastal Carolina and how many have been sold. Now, I'm not going to get that information just yet. I'm going to say anywhere between 500 and 2,000 because I think if I recall correctly, it's in Section 121. And so I know there's been a lot of chatter, hey, let's make this a Marshall home game. Let's go on the road and really show Coastal Carolina how well Herd fans travel. Let's just take this place over. And I think there's a lot of positive energy. So I'm going to say anywhere from 500 to 2,000. I could be wrong. I can ask. I don't think I've ever gotten exact ticket numbers ahead of time because tickets are on sale right now. You can get those over at herdzone.com. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, I go ahead and get those now if there really is a push. And again, if you want to sit with Marshall fans, the best place to get your tickets first is through Marshall. That's the Herd allotment there. And I know that a lot of Herd fans want to make that trip. I mean, after all, this is sort of like second West Virginia you're going to, Coastal Carolina. So Texter says, always go Herd. And No Country Roads by the Marching Thunder, please. Appreciate that. I met No Country Roads. I don't know that dude's name, but I met him at the game on Saturday. Super cool guy. I'm not just saying it because he just texted in, but no, super cool guy. Appreciated seeing him. I had a couple people come over, and so, hey, appreciate you guys actually coming over, saying hi. I do appreciate that. It lets us know how much you guys are listening, and we appreciate that. I'm going to say a shout out to my guy Russ and the folks over at the Thundercast. I couldn't get over to their tailgate, so you know what they did? They brought it to me and they took good care of me. Thank you so much for that. So if you want to drop by our tailgate location, really it's not a tailgate. I'm just there at the table with the Hall of Famer, Bill Cornwell, and we're doing a show. But if you want to come over and drop off like pepperoni rolls, food like that, I mean, we're going to take that. Absolutely. So thank you to those guys. Thanks to everybody that showed up and came over and said hi to us. We really do appreciate that stuff. It means more to us than you would actually know. All right. Let's talk football. We're going to get into basketball a little bit later on, but we're looking at hopefully a Thundering Herd road win against Coastal Carolina. Maybe Marshall fans buy all of the tickets that Marshall's selling, part of its allotment, and then we see the Thundering Herd go in at Coastal Carolina, take over, and win that, make it like a home game. But first and foremost, Coach Gibson, earlier today on the Sun Belt Conference call, talked about, and he's still apologizing for coaching mistakes. I mean, I love that guy. He's still asking for forgiveness for some things, and he's happy that it didn't really cost the team. But here's what Coach had to say in his opening statement on the conference call earlier today.
But just, another good win for our program. Homecoming game, great crowd, great weather. Didn't play really well in the first half, but second half offensively, we got it rolling a little bit. And guys stepped up and made plays at the right time. And it was a good win for our football team. So carrying some momentum going into a bye week. And then, obviously, as you all know, we played October 30th against Coastal at Coastal. So, and they're playing better right now. So, we're going to have our hands full. It's going to be a big game.
Absolutely. All games are going to be big games. You can't overlook any game in league play. You got to win the rest of them to have a shot. Honestly, you win the rest of them. You win all the East Division games, you're in. You're good. You're golden. That's all you have to do. You've split on the west side. Now you got to just continue on, win all your east side games, and you're golden. Now, let's talk about Lorcan Quinn for just a moment. First up, named Sun Belt Conference Special Teams Player of the Week. Without Quinn being so reliable, I don't think Marshall wins this. I don't have to worry about the kicking game. I don't have to worry about lining up and kicking the football now. And that's because Quinn has been so reliable. And Gibson and this was before the announcement that he was named Sun Belt Conference Special Teams Player of the Week. Coach just had a lot of praise for him when he was asked about him.
He opened the game up with his kickoff went through the uprights. So, we knew that we had to be really good with our kicking game because they'll take some chances and they have a good return man. And he did a great job. I think he was 6 for 7 touchbacks, was 4 for 4 on field goals, hit a 48-yarder into the wind. It would have probably been good from 58. And, 2 extra points. So he's steady right now. He's doing a great job. Nothing really affects him. And, he's got to keep that up for us. And, but he's just such a weapon to have, especially with our kickoff team. And, comes through clutch on field goals. And, we're not afraid to run him out there really from anywhere. I mean, inside of 60, 65 yards, we're going to try him, unless the wind's crazy. But I have a lot of confidence in him. And at any point in the game, we could run him out. So, but he's been really good for us.
Absolutely. He's been really good for you. Absolutely. Again, Special Teams Player of the Week. Now, before we talk about Coastal Carolina, let's talk about the reason why Marshall has been able to improve weekly, and that is Carlos Del Rio Wilson. And Coach was asked about his progression throughout the game and going into overtime. Started out, I don't want to say shaky, but he started out, that was a defensive game. Let's just call it what it was. That was a defensive battle. The defenses came to play, gave up some quick stuff. Marshall was able to answer, but that was a defensive game through a lot of the struggle. And I thought as the night progressed, Carlos got better, especially going into overtime. And Coach Gibson talked about how he started to kind of progress. And he honestly said, look, if I'm going into overtime, Carlos is my guy.
Carlos started out the first half, and he was trying to force some things in, made a rare mistake. He turned it over in the red zone, took points off the board, and he came out in the second half, and we were different offensively. We put some drives together. I made a poor decision on the first drive of the opening half, or the second half, opening drive. We should have kicked the field goal and took the points. Didn't do it, and thank God it didn't come back to get us. But Carlos, he's the same guy, never too high, never too low. And if we're going to overtime, I want him as our quarterback, and our whole football team does. And he just did what he had to do. And when we held him to a field goal, I felt pretty good about chances of winning the football game and sending the offense back out.
Absolutely. Carlos has been a key component in this. I want to say, once everything got settled in, Marshall found its quarterback, and he's been able to not just manage the game, but take the game over at times. And I think that's what we saw on Saturday. And Coach was asked about this. I mean, we've seen Marshall already in a couple of close games, and it didn't go Marshall's way. Now, Marshall's in a close game, and we saw what it took to win. And that was the question asked to Coach Gibson, just about this team's resolve, already going through it a couple of times, and just how this team has found its ability to win, especially in a situation like overtime.
Yeah, it was great to see. And, I don't know, like I used the timeout late in that. And I beat myself up about it. It was a bad decision on my part to even call a timeout there. And if I was going to do it early before they get a kickoff. But our kids, once it went in, and, I was mad at myself, and I looked back and the guys were like, "We got you, coach. We're good." Never panicked. They didn't panic when we were down 8 points in the fourth quarter. And they just keep playing. Again, I say it a lot, but these kids love football. They love each other right now. I mean, it's taken us a while to gel and do all the things, but we're 7 games into the season, and this team is gelling, and we're getting it going at the right time. So proud of them. Love to coach them. So we'll give them a couple of days here to recover and get healthy, and then get ready to roll on the Coastal.
I'm going to take a 4-3 Marshall team with lessons learned anytime. Would you like to see this team say 6-1? Absolutely. But if I can get a Herd team 4-3 with only one conference loss, and that loss is not to an East Division team, with lessons learned, I feel good about where this team's at right now. Coastal's going to be another test. Coastal's important. And so this is a big matchup for the Thundering Herd. The fans are excited. It's a Thursday night game. You can take, you take Thursday off, you take Friday off if you've got that ability, and you head on down to Coastal Carolina and you go watch the Thundering Herd. And if you can't get tickets through Herd Zone, and I kind of threw the number out there, anywhere between 500 to 2,000. I've got it on good authority that it's probably somewhere in the middle of that number. I was asked that question earlier. So if you want your tickets, Marshall has more than 500, but maybe less than 2,000 is probably the best way for me to kind of motivate you. If you're wanting to go, get them now. And then if you can't get it through Marshall, then you go through Coastal. But if you can go through Marshall first, get those first through Marshall, then go the second route and try to get it through either the secondary market or go through the Coastal ticketing process, whatever it takes. If you want to take that game over, have a lot of Kelly Green in that crowd rooting the Herd on, that would be interesting to watch on television, as this is a Thursday night game on ESPN2. There's a lot going on that night, but somebody's going to tune in and want to watch a little college football. Here's the Herd, and if you see a lot of Herd fans in the stands, that's going to make a statement. Also, it's honestly going to help fire this team up, because if the fans come out and see there are a lot of Herd fans have traveled, how jacked are they going to be? Because, again, they keep saying, hey, our fans are different, our fans are special, our fans are the best. So if you can go, show the league why Marshall fans are different, why Marshall fans are the best, why Marshall fans are special. And, oh, by the way, Coach talked about looking ahead to Coastal Carolina in this really important East Division matchup.
Yeah, well, since they made their quarterback change, they're different now offensively than what they were. So these last two games, they changed that up. They're running this quarterback a lot, and he can also beat you throwing the ball. He's got a great arm. And our coaching staff here was familiar with him. Rod Smith was the offense coordinator at Illinois, and signed him coming out of high school. So he knows him well. And then obviously our relationship with the coaching staff at Coastal. We were all together at NC State for a few years, so very familiar with Coach Beck and some of his assistants. But it's obviously a huge game for us because it's our next. We don't. What we have to do is keep preparing the right way, doing things the right way, and have confidence in our program and our team and our teammates, our schemes, and just keep playing. And so that's all we'll say about it. I mean, it's not a bigger game than any other. It's a big game because it's our next game.
Standard coach stuff there. It's the next game. That's the biggest game's the next game. The game next is the big one. You hear that all the time. This game's over. Well, the next game's the big one, and so on and so on. But it's an important game because, again, it's an East Division game. So all East Division games are important because you're in a race right now to win the East Division, and you hope that the teams on the West side stumble a little bit. If you can go undefeated the rest of the way, win the East Division, maybe you can host the conference championship game. Again, I know some of you are pushing and praying for Southern Miss and Marshall. I would love to see that too, but Marshall's got to take care of its business first. That's Coach Gibson from his presser earlier today with the league media. When we continue, we're going to talk a little bit about Marshall preseason basketball. The Thundering Herd getting a couple of nods, the preseason teams, and Meredith Mayer named preseason All-Sun Belt third team. We'll hear from her when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Get organized and save big money with Dakota Closets at Menards. Dakota Closets can be installed in any room, from home offices and laundry rooms to walk-in or reach-in closets. Use the You Create Closet Planner available in-store or online to design a Dakota Closet system that maximizes your space and matches your style. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's.
Here's another Kinder Communications Community Chatter. The Cowboy Heineken Health Department providing monthly after-hours vaccine clinics for all of 2025. The clinics are being offered on the first Monday of each month between 3 and 6 p.m. at the department at 703 7th Avenue. No appointment is necessary.
This Kinder Communications Community Chatter brought to you by Black Sheep Harley-Davidson, 4th Avenue and 4th Street, downtown Huntington. Online at blacksheephd.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care. And they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Welcome back to today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Let's go to the text line. Texter says, Paul, looking forward to men's basketball tomorrow night. Player to watch, 7'4" center Matt Van Komen. Have a feeling basketball is in for a special season on both men's and women's side. Have a good feeling. I think that's a good observation, because if you didn't see it today, Jalen Spear, also Matt Van Komen, named to the Sun Belt Conference preseason all-conference team. Spear was selected first team. Van Komen earned third team honors. So Marshall picked sixth in the Sun Belt preseason coaches poll. That's a good spot right there. Spear appeared in 31 games last season, had 23 starts, averaged over 10 points a game, almost 11 really, and was out there for almost 29 minutes, shot over 35% from the three-point line. He was in double figures 13 times, had 3 20-point performances, set a program record for 7 for 7 from beyond the arc against James Madison, January 9th. You remember that night? Now, for those that don't know Van Komen that well, he's transferred in from Elon, and he's got the resume. He was named to the Colonial Athletic Association All-Defensive Team in 24-25. He had 75 blocks. That was the 13th most in the nation. And he averaged 6 points and 7.9 rebounds over 32 games. And, of course, I feel good about this team because, of course, Coach Jackson, this is year number 2 for him. I mean, he's been a coach for a long time, but as the head coach, year 2, following a 20-win campaign, got far, I think far than maybe some thought they would in the Sun Belt tournament. And so if Marshall can finish a little stronger, you don't have to go through that gauntlet of games. I mean, the women on their side, if that team could have finished stronger, better yet, if it could have started faster, because I felt like it finished stronger. But if it could have finished the way it started, or vice versa, if it could have started the way it finished, there we go. It's a Monday. Come on. I think this tournament gauntlet, which I love, by the way, would benefit Marshall a little bit more because, you get a team that's kind of wore down. But again, Marshall proved it can go several days in that gauntlet style of a tournament. Speaking of the women, we mentioned earlier, Meredith Mayer named to the preseason All Sun Belt third team. And she had a really great junior year. She was very good from the line, second in the league with 76 threes. And, of course, Marshall, as we mentioned, picked 8th in the Sun Belt preseason coaches poll, so getting a little bit more respect. And again, I don't put too much stock in these preseason polls. I mean, look at the men's side. Almost everybody got a first-place vote. But when we spoke with Meredith a couple of days ago, the funny thing is, Coach, before she left, she's like, hey, everybody asked Meredith on how she has improved her game. So, okay, I'll take that bait. And when I got the microphone, Meredith, how have you improved your game?
Obviously, I like to shoot the three. That's not really news. But we've been working on post play. That's something that I wasn't really acquainted with my earlier years, and so I'm getting more comfortable playing in the paint. finishing around the rim more. So it's going to be excited to see how that translates in the game.
And now that she's been with Coach, and she mentioned this in the presser, and we'll get to that maybe sometime this week, that this is the first time I think that she's actually had the same coach for more than a year. So that's a new feeling for her. There's been a lot of turnover. So now she has a coach that she's been with a little bit longer. You're not sitting there relearning. Now you know, okay, this is what Coach wants. This is what Coach expects. This is what Coach runs. Now we can just go out there and do it better. And so now this team, and Meredith is one of those players that knows what it feels like to win the conference, to go to the NCAA tournament. Yes, this team is picked 8th, but Meredith talked about her and the team's aspirations to go out there and possibly win the Sun Belt.
I'm super confident. I think we've added a lot of key pieces to this year, to this team this year. Last year, we started off a little rough, obviously, but I was very, very pleased with how we finished. Obviously, I would have loved to have another ring on my finger, but I think it just kind of proved to ourselves and to everybody else watching that we are capable of a lot more than we showed early on. And so I'm excited to see how that translates early on in this season and continues throughout the season.
That's a key statement right there. This team, toward the end, I don't want to say it just clicked, but it felt like, okay, they've hit another gear. And if Marshall can do that again, if this team can get out to a faster start, if this team can be a little bit more consistent in the beginning and then play down the stretch, strong basketball, not fade, peak at the right time, you got a shot. Absolutely got a shot. It's been proven it can be done at Marshall on the women's side, and now here's an opportunity for Marshall to go out there and do it again. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's see. I now know No Country Road's name. Thanks. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention that on the air, but I know No Country Road's name now. He's been calling in for years, and even back to the Snyder days. Wow. I was over a different place then during the Snyder days. I mean, way back when. I appreciate everyone. Everybody, yeah, if you ever want to come over to the tailgate, the pregame show, come over. Just say hi. I mean, seriously, give me an idea who you are if you text in regularly. I mean, come on over. I'm there. Bill Cornwell's there, for home games. Come on over. Giovanni's when we're on the road. If you want to come, get a pizza, come say hi. Absolutely, please do so. We look forward to seeing all of you and happy to meet every single one of you. And we do appreciate it when you come by. It really means a lot to us. So I know No Country Road's name now. I will make a notation just for myself so I know it's him. But when we continue, we'll get more of your text when we come back from the break here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. And in Wayne, Vicky Tabor, 304-272-5149.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future, and better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now, 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control, they'll kill for your business.
Hey, Tri Tri-State. Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
There's a place to share the joy of your team winning it all, and a place to share a laugh about skiing and taking a fall. There's a place to share photos of pets, or singing in the choir, or the time you ate a pepper and your mouth was on fire. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone. Ask about your company's emotional health benefits. Visit heart.org/sharing. Brought to you by the American Heart Association.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Off to a good start on this Monday. We'll be even better tomorrow. We'll keep that text line open for you all week, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Finally going to actually get into a rhythm again. We've got baseball action coming up tonight, but it's actually at a decent time. When I mean decent time, I mean not preempting my show. Game 7 tonight between Toronto and Seattle, 7:30 airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Coach's show tomorrow? No. Coach's show Thursday. There's exhibition basketball. Fans First, that's coming up tomorrow at the CAM. So we'll have the coach's show, both for Coach Jackson and Coach Gibson, coming up on Thursday. And, of course, we'll have the World Series coming up as well this week. No Marshall football this weekend, getting set for Coastal Carolina. October 30th, 7:30 p.m., ESPN2. And that does it for this edition. Thanks for everyone texting in today. I'll be back with you tomorrow. If you want to find out more, hit me up on X. Say hi at Paul Swann. And, of course, don't forget, we've got the podcast as well. You can download that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Found out a lot of people, they like getting the podcast and just downloading it and listening on their time. So we're happy to provide that for you. All right, we're done with time to spare. That's kind of a rarity here. Have a great night, everyone.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.